Hi everyone, my name is Chloe, and I want to tell you about how my mom was stalking me. She did it intentionally, like a maniac. I, like any other teenager, was sick of it and tried every way I could to get rid of her. Well, then I got into some adventures. Every morning when I was getting ready for school, my mom was always waiting for me on the doorstep. She would drive me to school, go into class with me, and wait in the hallway between classes, and then take me home right after school and never let me out the house. Shit, it was really stressing me out. My classmates laughed at me, most of all Michael. He's the one who likes to make fun of people. He was constantly throwing names at my back about my mom walking next to me. Yeah, it didn't suit me either. But my mom was pretty freaked out. Not too long ago, 2 girls went missing from a nearby school. First one, though she was let go after a big ransom, then the other. When she heard the news, she got scared. And the devil made me tell her that I saw a man taking the last one away. I had spotted it by chance. We used to sell cookies together, so I was surprised that she was going somewhere with a man I didn't know. I just knew her personality, but I didn't think much of it. And then we found out that she had been kidnapped. I told my mom about it, and she got paranoid. She kept telling me to keep my mouth shut, not to be dragged off by the police. Even though I thought my testimony might help in finding the perpetrator, my mother's mind was hard to change, so I kept quiet. In the meantime, I had no shortage of her. One morning, I ran away early from home and came to school by myself, so that for once they wouldn't make fun of me. I turned off my phone and hid in the bathroom so my mom wouldn't find me and went home at the end of the day. I could hear her voice in the hallway, and yeah, I felt like shit. I didn't want her to act like that. I was disgusted. Suddenly, she was standing in front of the bathroom door and asked if I was in there. She was about to come in, and that meant there was going to be a concert of screams. I held the door shut, but suddenly the fire alarm sounded, and the whole place got wet. Everyone ran out screaming, and the hallway became empty. I came out alone and wanted to head for the exit, but I heard noises from the principal's office. I thought maybe Mr. Dickens was in there, worried if anything bad had happened, so I went in. I found knocking coming from his office. There was someone in black clothes and a hoodie standing with his back to me. He had knocked a hole in the floorboard with an axe, pulled something out, and hid it in a bag. "Hey, who are you?" I shouted, and he turned around, and I could only see half of his face, his chin and lips. He smiled and bolted out the window. What did he want here? He left his axe, so I picked it up, at which point the principal walked in. He immediately told me, "I'm waiting for an explanation." When the fuss was over, the whole school was sent home, and I was kept in the principal's office. I had to call my mother and tell her that I was going to be home soon and that I was all right, so she wouldn't worry. I told the principal everything I had seen. He kind of believed it wasn't me and made a deal with me. He told me that if I figured out who it was and brought back what he stole, I'd have a straight shot at any college I wanted. So I agreed. And of course, I wasn't supposed to tell anyone about it. So I started hunting for Mr. Black, because he'd been wearing all black. At first, I analyzed his height, his build, and his smile. It seemed to me that he was young, maybe even my age. I carefully went through the pictures of all the students in the school, watched, even stalked Michael, but it was in vain. He was nowhere to be found. And then I happened to notice his figure in the afternoon as I was leaving for home. He was walking around the back of the school and went somewhere. I thought, what if that's where his hideout is? I got home and my mom was on edge. Somehow I calmed her down that I was okay, that nothing had happened, and she fell asleep. I immediately went out of the house to test my theory. I found the stash quickly, though I never would have thought that the door on the back wall had any room behind it. I crept quietly inside, walking through a small room. It was dark, but it was so nice and clean, it felt like they lived there. And then I found an interesting photo album, and I wanted to open it, but someone behind me put their hand over my mouth, and I froze in horror. "Shh," I heard a whisper from behind me. "Be quiet, don't make any noise, and everything will be fine," he added. I thought, that's it, he's going to snap my neck and that'll be it. But he suddenly turned me toward him, his face covered by a hood, and kissed me sharply. From the surprise, I was confused and didn't move at all. "Who are you?" He was silent, and then he said in a whisper, "I'm on your side, that's all." He pulled my bag out in front of me and ran outside. Damn, I was so close to it. He kissed me to distract me. I ran after him through the courtyard, then he climbed through the men's room into the inside of the school, and I followed him. We ran through the hallways at great speed, then I just ran out of breath. I remembered his lips. That's all that was left in my mind at that point. And then I spotted him around the corner, sitting against the wall, looking away. I reached my hand out to grab his bag, but he turned around very quietly, grabbed my hands, and pressed me against the wall. I couldn't see his face, just his lips. He was smiling like he was playing with me. We heard the guard, but he kept me from screaming. He kissed me again, and then he ran away as soon as the guard appeared. The next day I was in my head, wondering who it could be. I reviewed the lips of all the guys at school, and I suddenly thought Michael's lips looked similar. There was nothing left for me to do. I walked right into the boys' locker room and kissed Michael. Everyone started laughing. Michael was shocked. "Ew, are you crazy stupid?" "No, definitely not." "What did you say?" "That guy's lips are much stronger, and yours are like dry heels." "What?" He said I was very rude, and he kicked me out. I didn't even hear him. I was talking out loud and reasoning. Then the principal called me into his office and asked me what about the assignment. I said I had no results yet. "What? It's been so long." "I understand, but I'm trying to find it out. It's not like I can do it during the day. I only go after my mom is asleep." "Yeah, I'm sorry. I just lost my temper. I really need those documents. Just get them. It's in your best interest, too." "Yes, sir. I'll try as soon as I can." "If you don't find them, you're gonna wish you never got involved in this. Understand?" "Yes, sir." He got angry and smashed a glass of water on the floor. I cried out in fear and injustice. I had tried. I had literally put myself in danger. What if he had done something to me? And what the hell are these important documents? Why are they being hunted like this? Then there was a knock on his office door. A man came in, he said hello to me, and I said hello to him. "Knock, knock. May I?" "Hello." "What's with all the yelling? Why is this sweet girl crying? Did the naughty principal say something to you? Was it him who hurt you?" he asked me. And then my knees trembled. I specifically looked at them both with the principal and saw them shaking hands. And I remembered something. The man's hands, the gloves, his car, and that girl from the neighboring school. My heart began to race, and I walked out of the principal's office and realized that something was wrong here. I needed to check something, so I snuck out of the house again. However, my mom caught me. "Where are you going?" A classmate came to me. I'll give her something and I'll come back inside. You go to sleep, Mom." "Oh, okay, well, just for a little while." Okay. So I arrived at the place, put on black, and entered the office, opening it with a pre-prepared pick lock. I took a step in, and my mouth was shut. I showed my hands that I had nothing on me, and he slowly walked toward the desk. "Did you want something? You're sticking your nose in too much," he said to me. I heard his voice for the first time, then I took my hands away and said, "You're pissing me off already." I turned around and saw in front of me the same man who kidnapped that girl from the neighboring school, who was in the principal's office, shaking his hand, who was looking at me right now. My heart almost jumped out. "Recognize me? I should have picked you up on the way." "No." He came at me, but from behind, he got hit by the guy in black. They started fighting, I hid aside. They trashed the whole office during the fight, and the man ripped the hood off the guy. It was a guy from my school, a straight-A student, a nerd. He was the quietest kid in school, and I never would have thought he was capable of that. The man hit him with his fist, and the kid fell, and his attacker was coming my way. Suddenly, the door opened, and my mother hit the man on the head, and he lost consciousness. A minute later, the police were on the scene. My mom hugged me tight. I asked her how she got here, and all she said was that it was her to fool a mom. That guy, I helped him up, and then we talked. It turned out that the first kidnapped was his little sister. He and his parents had given all the money to get her out, and he suspected our principal. He dug up some evidence and got documents with lists of potential victims and the amount of money the principal and that man were going to extort from their families. Since then, my classmate had been living in the basement, and he was figuring things out in parallel. I was shocked. It turned out that man was from the mayor's office. In addition to them, there were other accomplices too. They were all arrested, and my mother calmed down. And she wasn't the only one. A lot of parents thanked her and me. Since then, Michael got away from me. He got embarrassed after being kissed by me. But what about David? I think you may understand.